So with the official release date trailer for Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, we got tons of new features and characters announced. And one of the biggest things that has been on the mind of the community for the last week is the announcement of a what if scenario feature in the story mode. So we could just literally read from the website itself, conquer the action-packed battles from the beloved original story, or discover and unlock new encounters for your favorite Z fighters and more. Now, it does state that you can experience from the perspectives of 8 characters, so it seems like, let's say the main Z fighters, Goku, Vegeta, Piccolo, Gohan, Trunks, maybe Krillin, Yamcha, Tien, something like that, like those kind of range of 8 characters might be literally what they're talking about. Maybe we'll see other characters like even Frieza. Besides the point, I think the announcement of a what if feature is so good for the game and could allow potential huge replayability in the story mode, depending on how many branching off decisions you can make depending on what happens. You could even, again, literally create a whole different story. Super exciting. I mean, we're seeing already Super Saiyan Goku in the Saiyan saga. We saw Krillin joining Goku to fight against Raditz, right? Things like that could really drastically change how the story itself goes on. So I'm very excited to see exactly what's going to happen. Speaking of which, that's the point of this video. There's going to be 10 what if scenarios I would like to see in Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. Before we continue on, let me know what if scenarios you would like to see in the comments below. Maybe some I haven't thought of, and let's just hop right into it. And keep in mind, these aren't in any specific given order. They're just random ideas that popped into my head during the making of this video. Now, for the first what if scenario, I do have Super Saiyan 3 Goku versus Majin Vegeta during the Majin Buu saga. Now, this is a little what if fight that has been very popular in the community for decades even, honestly. And this is just a really cool idea where we all knew Super Saiyan 3 Goku was possible. He had that form available when he fought Vegeta, but only held it back to help keep Vegeta's pride intact. But what if he decided to end up going all the way full power into Super Saiyan 3? Now, this was even shown a little during the Rivals trailer we got, where we saw Goku versus Vegeta in all their different forms. We saw Goku go Super Saiyan 3 against Majin Vegeta in that specific trailer, and a lot of people pointed out, hey, could this have been a hint towards a what if in the story mode itself? Now, in terms of the actual what if, I would assume we would fight as Super Saiyan 2 Goku versus Vegeta. Then, as Goku really sensed that Majin Buu might have been close to reviving, Goku ended up decided to go Super Saiyan 3. He would fight Majin Vegeta and he would of course win. There's a pretty huge power gap between the two. Hey, maybe they could even do a further what if and introduce Super Saiyan 3 Majin Vegeta. That's another very popular form in the community, or just Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta in general. Raging Blast did have a Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta in the past as well. So seeing like a Super Saiyan 3 Majin Vegeta versus a Super Saiyan 3 Angel Goku could be really cool. But regardless, this would be a really fun what if fight to see, just because we all like Super Saiyan 3, I think, and seeing a lot of extra Super Saiyan 3 content would be very nice. Now, for the next idea, I think this is a very likely thing to see in Sparking Zero's story mode, and that is Ultra Instinct Goku versus Dragon Ball Super Broly. Now, there's a couple of reasons why I personally would like to see this, or why I even think it's going to happen in the first place. Now, the first big reason is the diorama we get from pre-ordering the Collector's Edition, or I think in general you do get it from obtaining the Collector's Edition. But just taking a look at this diorama, I mean, it's pretty clear again, full power Broly against UI Goku. Them showing us this, and in the fandom, ever since Goku was powering up against Broly in the movie, we saw when he was going Super Saiyan Blue, there's that white little color hinting at Ultra Instinct, a lot of people were thinking. From what I understand, that is just like an animation color choice and is not actually hinting at Goku trying to go Ultra Instinct. But since seeing that, that has been on a lot of people's mind, and the idea of going Ultra Instinct with Goku against Broly would just be very, very cool instead of fusing with Gogeta. As much as we all also love Gogeta, seeing these other possibilities, what if possibilities, would be very nice. Another thing is we've seen the cover, of course, UI Goku during the Kamehameha in front of the full power Broly. Not that that necessarily means anything in terms of the gameplay itself, more so the characters that will be available. Still, fighting as UI Goku versus Broly would be really, really good. Now, in terms of the fight itself, I feel like, I'm not like too deep into power scaling like that, but I would assume that Ultra Instinct Goku would likely win. And the worst case scenario, what would happen is UI Goku would end up running out of his power, and then we would just see them fuse into Gogeta anyways. But I would assume Ultra Instinct Goku would win that encounter pretty comfortably, in fact, as well. I mean, Ultra Instinct is such a powerful form, and just seeing the clash of the white and the green and everything like that would be pretty sick in my opinion. So hopefully we do see this in game. I think, again, it is a very likely outcome. So for the third idea of this list, we do have Super Saiyan God Vegeta versus Beerus. And more specifically, it would be, what if Vegeta was the one that underwent the Super Saiyan God ritual during the Battle of Gods movie / anime, of course, over Goku himself. Now, in the movie, we saw Goku was the one who went the God ritual, and for a long time, fans really wanted to see Vegeta become Super Saiyan God, which we finally end up getting in the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie. However, the idea of Vegeta being the one to go under the God ritual, to me, is still a pretty cool idea, right? Vegeta being the Prince of Saiyans himself, and we would get a pretty different fight because, of course, I think Vegeta is a more like aggressive kind of fighter compared to Goku, who's less aggressive, maybe a little more tactical, and they do have their different array of movesets. So seeing different kinds of techniques used against Beerus in that fight would be pretty cool as well. Now, of course, at the end of the day, both of them would end up losing the God form, but seeing Vegeta being able to retain the God power itself would be really, really nice, and would just be an exciting moment for Vegeta fans, right? Vegeta going ahead and fighting Beerus and kind of almost like, in a sense, not really avenging the Saiyan race, but in terms of fighting for his Saiyan pride, because of the fact that even though he didn't know at the time, Beerus was the one who did end up like ordering Frieza to destroy the planet Vegeta, right? Along with that, at the end of the movie, we did see Goku, he launched back Beerus' sphere, or exploded it at the thought of his loved ones. Vegeta would still be able to go ahead and do the same thing, but we would see Bulma, Trunks more prominent there, and I think it could be a really good Vegeta character moment as well that could just be added to a what if thing. And I think it would be just be a very exciting thing for Vegeta fans all around, seeing him get the spotlights. But let me know what you guys think, and we'll hop into the next idea. And for the next what if scenario, we do have a fan favorite what if fight that has been referenced even in previous Dragon Ball media and Dragon Ball games. This is Super Gogeta versus Legendary Super Saiyan Broly. These are the Z movie variants of these characters, and whilst we did get this fight basically in Dragon Ball Super Broly with Gogeta Blue and Full Power Broly, these are just different versions of the characters in general, and I think people would still be quite excited to see these characters fight it out. Now, we had this referenced in previous Dragon Ball games. Budokai 3, we saw Broly versus Gogeta, where Gogeta kind of like shot a Kamehameha at him in the opening. Then we also even saw the animated intro for Budokai Tenkaichi 3, where Gogeta and Broly like danced around and fought for a while, and that was also just super cool to see at the time, growing up playing the Budokai Tenkaichi series. And of course, we do know that this is, for all intents and purposes, it's Budokai Tenkaichi 4. In Japan, it was called the Sparking series, so that's why it is called Sparking Zero. But, this is a sequel to the original Budokai Tenkaichi 3, is what I should say. Now, continuing on with how this fight would go, I could easily see this happening in two scenarios. Well, as we don't know if they would cover the movies, it would be kind of cool if they had some, like, timeline where the movies were covered or something like that. Now it'd be nice if we could see this somehow in a maybe movie 8 instead of Goku getting the energy from everyone else. Somehow they are told by King Kai about the Metamorian fusion. Not really going to be a likely scenario, but it is a what if regardless. Now, the second idea I had was maybe after the events of movie 10, Broly is in the other world, and then we see a scenario where Goku goes to meet up with Vegeta in the other world. They fuse into Gogeta, and they end up fighting with legendary Super Saiyan Broly, who at that point is super, super powerful because of his fights against Gohan, against the family Kamehameha. And we know Broly, continues to get overflowing ki and infinite energy, stuff like that, right? So it'd be really cool to see that incarnation of Broly versus Gogeta, and Gogeta maybe at the end finishing Broly off with the Stardust Breaker could be a nice little spin on it. But we'll see how things go if they do decide to implement this what if. Hopefully it is somehow in the game. So this next what if concept is something that is very special to my own heart as a big Gohan fan, and that is what if future Gohan ended up winning against the androids and even pushed beyond his limits, became Super Saiyan 2, right? So I feel like Gohan's potential in the future timeline was not, of course, nearly as utilized as it was in the primary timeline of, Dragon Ball Z. And Future Gohan ended up unfortunately losing to the androids. That is how Trunks, at least in the anime, went Super Saiyan. But imagine a scenario where Future Gohan, kind of similar to Kakarot, has this final clash against the androids. Only then Future Gohan instead pushes beyond his limits and ends up transcending Super Saiyan into Super Saiyan 2 through his pure potential and pure rage, desperation to save the timeline, right? I think that would be just a really cool scene just to see that animated. And while, this may be a little bit of a stretch because what if forms kind of aren't really necessarily confirmed to be a thing in the game, I think that seeing a Super Saiyan 2 Future Gohan could be cool and wouldn't really be many changes to his model anyways. And then on top of that, it would branch off into Future Gohan not only being alive, but in the future we could see, let's say, even potentially if Goku Black still would show up or against the fight against Majin Buu. Things like that could be quite interesting to see. Maybe Goku Black, as he's traveling through the timelines, he ends up finding that timeline and we see like future Gohan fighting against Goku Black specifically. I think that could also be a really, really cool fight to see. Just like Gohan being like, who is this guy? Why does he look like my father? Things like that, right? And even Trunks, at that time got like super like scared of Goku when he saw Goku. But even the thought of even future Gohan going into the past and trying to get assistance from Goku as well would also just be cool to see the interactions of that future Gohan, maybe even the present timeline Gohan, if they really want to like stretch out to the possibilities of what these what ifs could be and show like these decisions could change massive major parts of the story would be pretty sick. So I would love to see like a what if future Gohan beat the androids. For number 6 on this what if scenarios list, we have Vegeta going Super Saiyan, but on Namek rather than during the Android Cell Saga. Now, this is a very popular theory that has also appeared in the previous Dragon Ball games. If you take a look at Budokai 3, there were a couple of what ifs available, and one of them was Vegeta actually going Super Saiyan in his fight against Frieza. And whilst we did not see that fight specifically, we did see Vegeta end up knocking Frieza's energy out of nowhere. Goku was confused. Then when Goku went to find out what happened, he saw Vegeta there as a Super Saiyan. So, I mean, pretty clearly, if they would follow a similar route, Vegeta would go Super Saiyan when, Frieza maybe is about to kill him. Frieza's about to, after Frieza knocks away his like full power blast, maybe Vegeta just understands like through true pain and rage and ends up going Super Saiyan through that way. Makes a lot of sense to me. That would pretty easily decimate Frieza. I don't think that Vegeta would maybe even give Frieza the chance to do anything out of how angry he could be at that time. And Vegeta would, of course, end up beating Frieza. Then maybe after Goku would arrive and Vegeta, might just straight up beat them, the rest of the Z fighters, because at that time they only were temporarily working together to find the Dragon Balls, and then now with Vegeta being Super Saiyan Vegeta, he's definitely stronger than the rest of them. Unless Goku also ends up going Super Saiyan, I mean, it could literally be a thing where Vegeta kills Frieza, then Vegeta ends up knocking all the Z fighters around. Goku sees Vegeta kill Krillin, and then Goku also goes Super Saiyan, and then we have just Super Saiyan Goku versus Vegeta on Namek. Could easily be how things turn out. At least that's just me spitballing on how the scenario could go down. But just seeing Super Saiyan Vegeta in the Namek armor, I think would also be pretty cool. And just these what if scenarios are just so fun, right? Seeing like Goku versus Vegeta on Namek like that would be a pretty sick, kind of thing to see. Number 7 on this list is something that many people wanted to happen during the Tournament of Power arc in Dragon Ball Super, and that would be future Trunks being a participant in the Tournament of Power. Now, a lot of people just in general wanted future Trunks to stay in the main timeline. I mean, myself included. Honestly, I'm one of those people who wanted future Trunks to just stay. But imagining still, even if it was just him coming back to the timeline, Trunks being a participant in the Tournament of Power could just be a really, really cool thing to see. Trunks, imagine like if Frieza even was still part of the Tournament of Power at that point, and Trunks and Frieza being on the same team, their interactions. Seeing Trunks also interact with the present Gohan, maybe they team up and fight some of the Pride Troopers. Seeing Trunks against like Topo, Jiren, and etc. Maybe with Vegeta. Trunks having to work together with 17 and 18 could also be really interesting. Like seeing all the dynamics between those characters having to work together. And we know Trunks wasn't really comfortable even seeing 18 in the present timeline. But him having to work together with the androids, I think, could just be pretty sick. And Trunks, of course, is his own competent fighter with his new Super Saiyan Rage form, everything like that. At that point, he could have potentially been even stronger. And this could be a thing where maybe by erasing, of course, Universe 7, it would also erase all the timelines associated with Universe 7 specifically. Maybe that could obviously be what would happen, and in that scenario Trunks would also want to go in and fight to protect not only his future but to protect everyone else that he does care about in the present timeline. Maybe Trunks could even potentially undergo a possible new transformation. I'm not sure how that would work. Maybe we could even see the Solar Hope make another appearance. Could be pretty awesome, but regardless, seeing Trunks fight and do his own thing would just have been an amazing thing to experience in the Tournament of Power. And hopefully we see a lot of Trunks kind of stuff in this game. One of the biggest fights in Dragon Ball Super was Gogeta versus Broly. But what if they ended up using a different way to fuse? In this what if scenario, I want to see what if they fuse into Vegito during the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie, and what would they do to fight differently against Broly. Now, I think the biggest thing here is, a lot of Vegito fans would love to see the option to use their favorite fusion in one of the most popular fights of the series. On top of that, the kind of different moves would Vegito do? He has his little like split finger shot that you could potentially use. He has the Spirit Sword. Would he be able to cut around Broly? Let's think of the final Kamehameha. At the end, Gogeta, of course, did his full power Kamehameha as it's labeled in the games, but Vegito doing the final Kamehameha itself against Broly to try and finish him off would also be very, very cool. And, maybe me, just in general, I am a pretty big Vegito fan. I think seeing Vegito in media would be very nice, and especially since Vegito Blue didn't really fully get his time to shine during the Future Saga, unfortunately. Seeing Vegito Blue against Broly and him being able to fight against a character that doesn't instantly regenerate everything they do, I think would also be a pretty cool thing. So I think, again, Vegito Blue versus Broly in the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie would be awesome. And seeing that Gogeta was able to last the amount of time to kind of whittle Broly down, Vegito at this point should be able to do the same very very luckily. So hopefully we do get the option, even in other fights, to choose between Gogeta and Vegito in certain scenarios. And for number 8, we're continuing on with the fusion kind of trends, but also combining that with the number 7 spot, Tournament of Power. What if we're able to have the option to fuse into Vegito or Gogeta during the Tournament of Power? Now, we did see Kefla as a fusion appear in the Tournament of Power, and the Batar earrings were a thing that were allowed specifically to be used in the Tournament of Power, but both Goku and Vegeta declined to actually use the Batar earrings. But what if, let's say, against the fight with Jiren, or even like God when Gato would come up, like what if they decided to fuse into Vegito or Gogeta? I think that could be a really cool thing to see. And like I said, it could even tie in with number 7, maybe Future Trunks and the other characters, like I said earlier. We're holding off like Universe 11 whilst Goku and Vegeta go off to fuse into Gogeta. Maybe we could even see Vegito versus Kefla, where Kefla flews with the Batara earrings, and maybe UI Goku at the time just ran out of power and they had to fuse into Vegito, and we had a fight of Vegito versus Kefla, or even Gogeta versus Kefla. Again, could also be a really cool thing where it's like, oh, let's see, what's stronger between the Batar earrings and the, fusion dance itself. Things like that could be really interesting. Spice up the Tournament of Power. And for a while, a lot of people were thinking the Tournament of Power was potentially gonna see Vegito there. But in the end, it really focused on UI Goku, and we had Goku and Frieza defeat Jiren. But still, imagine like a Gogeta or a Vegito versus Jiren or Kefla. I think that would just be a very awesome fight scene, and I would assume the fusions would probably demolish Kefla and Jiren. I feel like UI Goku was able to like really beat down on Jiren once he really got upset. So I think maybe it could potentially be a little closer than people think, but I feel like blue fusions would be able to do quite a bit. Like, what if we see like blue Kalka and Vegito in that fight, or blue evolution, Gogeta even. Like I said, what if forms, we're not really sure if that's going to be on the table, but at the very least, like the blue versions of those forms could be really sick to see for the fusions. All right, and for number 10 on this list, we have an idea that was technically almost happened, right? And this would be Super Saiyan 4 Goku versus Beerus. Now, in the original like design for Super Saiyan God versus Beerus, or just the Battle Gods movie in general, if you guys didn't know, Beerus was just like pure evil, and Goku underwent a form that was kind of similar looking-ish to Super Saiyan 4. And obviously when Toriyama stepped in, he changed all of that, made Beerus more of a kind of neutral deity, and then on top of that, we ended up getting the god form as it looked like. But because of that, a lot of people since then were like, ooh, like Super Saiyan 4 Goku versus Beerus could be just a cool thing to see. And I definitely agree with that, right? Goku, instead, when he lost to Beerus, let's imagine that the Supreme Kai and Old Kai, they contacted Goku and told him, hey, you couldn't beat him like that, but we have a form you could ascend to try and find him again. And that would be the Super Saiyan 4 form, just like what would have happened in GT. And then, as we see in GT, there's a full power Super Saiyan 4 form where Goku receives the energy from the other Saiyans and powers up. Same thing could happen because all the Saiyans would be there, and it'd just be somewhat similar to the God ritual, where Goku takes in all the energy from the other Saiyans. Even though he doesn't go Super Saiyan God as full power Super Saiyan 4, it'd be kind of cool to see that kind of fight go down. See Goku using, let's say, the times 10 Kamehameha, and although Goku still would not win that fight, and arguably Super Saiyan God would just be a stronger form, I think that seeing as Goku goes Super Saiyan 4 against Beerus is just a pretty just nice concept in general. Maybe imagine like Goku in Super Saiyan 4 undergoes like the God ritual as it was, and then he becomes like a even stronger Super Saiyan 4 than full power. Like something like that could be interesting. Imagine like a Super Saiyan like god form, but with the Super Saiyan 4 kind of look could be really sick, right? You know, like how Gogeta had the different color fur. What if it was like a red kind of glowy fur, you know, like similar-ish to Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta even? I think that'd be pretty awesome. But that is number 10 on the list, and that is the 10 what if scenarios I would like to see in Sparking Zero so far. If you would like to see another video similar to this, I could definitely bring together some other ideas, and I would like to know what if scenarios you guys would like to see in the comments below. That's enough for me though. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you all in the next video. Peace out.